In this world of DMs and emojis, you gotta wonder, where does formal business writing even fit in anymore? If you've ever just stared at a blank screen, totally stuck on how to start a professional email, trust me, you're not alone. So today, let's break it all down and demystify the art of professional writing for the modern world. All right, let's just dive right in with something that, let's be honest, trips almost all of us up: the greeting. Just look at the options here. You've got everything from the classic Dear Reader all the way down to Hey Reader. The range is huge, and it's so easy to get it wrong. It's like the very first hurdle, but it's definitely not the last. And that really gets you thinking, doesn't it? When we're so used to communicating casually in our personal lives with quick texts and shorthand, does all that old school structure and formality still have a place? Does it even matter? Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. It absolutely matters, probably more than ever before. Why? Because every single letter, every official email you send, it's creating a powerful, lasting impression of who you are as a professional. And here's the kicker: it creates a permanent record. So here's the game plan. We're going to talk about why this stuff is still so important, cover some golden rules of writing, and then have a little showdown between letters and emails. After that, we'll dissect what makes a perfect letter and wrap it all up by talking about how your writing is essentially your brand. Let's get into the core principles. These are the golden rules that are going to take your writing from just being good enough to being genuinely effective. And spoiler alert, this is about way more than just running a spell check. The first rule, and maybe the most important one, is what's called the you approach. Now, this isn't really a rule so much as it is a whole mindset. It's all about empathy. It's about putting yourself in your reader's shoes for a second and thinking, how is this going to land with them? The whole point is to build a connection, not just to fire off a message into the void. And this slide just nails the point perfectly. On the left, you've got this stuffy, old-fashioned language called letterese. Phrases like, I beg to acknowledge receipt of. Who talks like that? It sounds robotic and creates distance. But look at the right side. Clear, simple, plain English. I received. Be direct. Be natural. Your reader will thank you for it. So before you even type a single word, just pause. Ask yourself these questions. What am I trying to achieve here? Who am I actually writing to? What do they already know? And what's our relationship like? Taking a minute to answer these questions is honestly the secret sauce. It's the difference between just sending information and actually getting something done. Okay, now for the main event. Let's talk about the two biggest tools in your professional writing toolbox: the formal letter and the business email. This is kind of the great debate of modern communication, and knowing when to use which is absolutely key. This table here lays it all out nice and simple. A business letter, that's the heavyweight champion of formality. It's got a very traditional, set-in-stone structure and a super professional tone. Email, on the other hand, is way more flexible. Its structure is simpler, the tone can be a bit more conversational, and it's really built for speed. So when do you actually pull out the big guns and write a letter? You do it when the stakes are really high. We're talking official notices, major proposals, contracts. Basically, anytime you need to communicate serious importance and create that solid, permanent record. And for pretty much everything else, email is your go-to workhorse. It was literally designed for routine, everyday communication. Things like internal updates, quick follow-ups, and most of your day-to-day back and forth, that's all perfect for email. All right, so now we know when to use a letter. Let's actually break down how to build one from the ground up. Think of this next part as your personal blueprint for success. So every standard business letter is built from these 6 parts, and they always go in this exact order. It's like a recipe. You've got the heading, the inside address, the salutation, the main text or body, the complimentary close, and finally, your signature. Get that order right, and you're already looking professional. Let's zoom in on that salutation, the greeting. The gold standard here is Dear, followed by the person's name, and then, this is important, a colon, not a comma. And please, try your best to avoid the generic, impersonal, to whom it may concern. Taking 2 minutes to find a specific name shows you've done your homework. Now for the sign-off, what we call the complimentary close. You want to keep this professional and simple. Things like sincerely or best regards are always safe bets. And for this part, you follow it with a comma. And here you can see how it all comes together. Notice how everything is lined up on the left? That clean, super organized layout is called block format. You can see all 6 parts we just talked about flowing logically from the heading all the way down to the signature at the bottom. It just looks clean and professional. Okay, let's get to our final and maybe most important section. All these rules, all these structures, they matter for one very simple reason. Your writing is your brand, and every single word counts. Just let this number sink in for a second. 280 billion. That's the estimated number of business emails sent around the world every single day. And each one of them is like a tiny ambassador, a digital fingerprint of the person who sent it. That's billions of chances every day to make a good or, a bad impression. Which brings us to a really powerful idea. Your signature, it's not just your name at the end of a message. As this quote says, it certifies your approval of the content. It's your personal stamp, a declaration that you stand behind every word you've written. And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to this. Sloppy writing isn't just about a few typos. It can make you look careless, maybe even unprofessional. But excellent writing, it does the exact opposite. It shows you have a sharp attention to detail, and it shows you respect the person you're writing to. So let's end with this thought. After everything we've gone over today, the next time you sit down to write an important email or a formal letter, just ask yourself this simple but pretty powerful question. What is this letter going to say about me?